Okay, so we've got a couple of beavers here. We put 2 sets out yesterday and we got 2 beaver today. Just be careful here today because this is wire ice.
That's what I was saying, that one's going to be interesting to get out.
Right at that time of freeze up, so we're gonna set 2 more traps in here after we're done. But we're gonna do swing and Susie's over at the end of the feed bed, and I'll show you how to do that. That's a big beaver. Supposed to get cold weather in the next 3 days, so we don't want to freeze it on the surface of the ice. Be careful and back up there.
Yeah.
Putting that trigger off to the side. That nice full body catch because they're well into the trap before it springs. Time of year, it's wet and it's cold, so we're gonna, if we back up a bit, I'm gonna rub them in the snow to dry them off here. It sounds funny, but snow actually dries them off. Just drying up the fur. Keep them from sticking to the bike and losing fur. We're on this better spot here. Fur dries up right away.
Keep them nice.
Wet on the bike right now. They'll freeze the bike and pull fur off. Dry. Much better. Okay, there's one. Well, this was a Swing and Susie set, but we put it up close to the door, and if you look, the mouth of the lake is there, and the waves are coming in from the lake, so it's keeping the edges of the feed bed from freezing. So what we're going to do today is we're going to put a Swing and Susie there and a Swing and Susie here. We don't want to pull too many out of here, but maybe 4, and then we'll pull out.
Not a bad size.
Large, medium.
Nice and healthy.
So, this one, we used a bit of bait, and you see he caught the beaver behind the head. And I'll show you the setup after, but we wire a poplar stick in the jaws of our trap. So what happens is the beaver comes in with his front paws, and he grabs that stick. And that's why we got him right behind the ears, because he touched the trigger because he was working at the stick underneath his feet. So I'll show you the setup. But for now, I'm gonna get this guy dried off. Take some moisture right out of his fur right away. It's funny rubbing it in the snow, but it works. It dries him off.
There we go.
Okay, so we'll get back to you once we start setting up our sets here. We picked this as our location, so you can see in the water there, this is the edge of the feed bed in a deep ditch. And the doorways to that house are under the feed bed, and the beaver are traveling under the feed bed and along the sides of it. So what we're gonna do, it's kind of a winter set, and we're kind of preparing in case our traps freeze in. But you can see the end of a poplar stump right there. I want to put my 330 hanging in front of that stump, because if a beaver is swimming along the edge of the feed bed here, that's going to be his path that he's going to travel, is right off the end of that stump. So, I'll show you what we do here for setting it's kind of a winter set. So, there's my 330, right? When I put the trigger together on this side, I want my bait to be on this side. So when you look at a trap, wherever the trigger is, the opposite, that's my trigger, the opposite jaw on this side, right, is where I want to put my bait. Now this is how we caught the beaver in the water on the other side of the house. And I do have the triggers. It's a trigger that clamps on the jaw and it has a wood screw, and you screw the piece of poplar to it. But the problem with that is if a beaver swims by, just the current and that floating thing on your trigger, sometimes it sets off your trap and you get lots of misses. So this way here, this piece of wood is in the jaw of the trap and he sees it, right? And my trigger is still a normal trigger set to the side. And what he'll do is he'll swim in, he'll grab this with his front feet, and he'll bend down like that, and then the shoulder sets off the trap. And that's why we got that last one right behind the ears. It's kind of a winter set, but like I said, we're supposed to get 3 days of cold weather, so this could freeze in on us. So we want to try to be under the water and in a place where if it does freeze up, I can still get at it and chop it out with an axe if I can't walk on the ice yet. So what we do, you got, yes, I do. Okay, so just short pieces of wire. And we want to be, so again, there's my trigger, opposite jaw, back side. And I'm going to wire this piece of poplar. I want to leave a little bit sticking out each side of the jaw. I'm going to wire this piece of poplar maybe like a 1/2 inch off the bottom of the trap. Of course, you could do all this ahead of time, but we're not winter trapping beaver yet. We're just a couple sets, so we're going to do the whole thing here to show you. Okay. Bend our wires in. Okay, so now you can see when I go to set the trap coming around the other way, that's going to end up in between the jaws. So on the upper side that the beaver's going to see, use a knife or axe. And what you want to do is you want to just kind of shave the bark on that poplar a little bit, just to get his attention. It's really clear water here, so they'll probably see better than most places, but especially in dirty beaver pond water, a couple marks like that helps them to see the trap. Okay. Keep my trigger just a straight trigger like that, because we're gonna set it off to the side of the trap, you know, one side or the other. So you can see here, I'll show you. You see how now the beaver swimming in the water, he's gonna grab this with his front feet and his shoulder is gonna touch that trigger. That's how we got the last one, just right here near the doorway. And we also have a kind of a double dip here because we have a spot that's going to funnel him to swim right there. Now, doing the setup I'm doing right now, he could just go over the log because the trap's just free hanging there. It doesn't have blockers, it's not a specific doorway. So we're using the bait as kind of an extra. So I already put my pole across here to see where it's going to land. I already know where it's going to end up. So what we're going to do is we're going to hang the trap on wire below the surface of the water. And this is where it gets its name, Swingin' Susie. Okay, so there's the theory behind it. It just hangs there on wire. And what my goal is to put this log on top of that feed bed and up on the bank. So if it freezes, the ice is going to be here and I'll be able to pull my pole back or get on top of it and chop it out. So, take my safeties off. So my goal is the end of that poplar stick there. And I want to keep the end of my stick up on that feed bed. So you can see there how you can see it in the water. My trap's got that bait. It's under the whole spring is under the surface of the water. But my log is suspended above the water, so I'm not going to freeze in my log. And then I'm just going to run a running wire from the end of the spring up to the tree here. In case something happens with my log or whatever, I can retrieve it that way. And if I freeze in, I could reach that with an axe. If the ice isn't safe to walk on, I could just chop the ice and take my trap back. So that's her, and we'll see how it does. Okay, so this is the other side of our feed bed. We had to come around with the bike to get over here. But you can see the same thing. I got an anchor line there. I got my trap hanging off wires. The pole is way up on top of the feed bed and up on the bank, so if anything freezes, it'll do my wires. And if it freezes, I can reach it with an axe and I can't walk on the ice. Same thing. Got a little bit of poplar bait on there. I don't know if you can see it.
Yep, you can see it on the camera.
But if you see the overall here, you can see the feed bed comes out of the house. The doorway in the house is under the feed bed. But the beavers, when they're swimming around out here, they're swimming the edges of this feed bed, obviously. And it's less likely to freeze out here. It'd be nice to put them closer in, but they'll freeze for sure. So I put them a little further up here because the waves off the lake, this will take longer to freeze. And that's kind of a winter set. So a beaver can swim over it and swim under it. But if you look, I picked a spot where there's a couple of logs where it funnels him right to that channel. If he's swimming along, he's on the surface of the water, he might just swim right over that trap. But if this freezes, that trap is right on the money, right where he's going to be. So there's our sets for this spot we want to pull. We pulled two now, so I want to pull two more, and then I'm going to pull out this one. Okay. Okay, so we're out checking traps again today, and we got our first Marten for the year. So that's 2 days. We checked yesterday.
No.
2 days. We got our first Marten. The run and pull set worked good. And he's frozen, so we're going to keep the trap on him. We're going to replace the trap. Marten.
Nice color on him.
Good start for the season. school method of trapping still works. Eh? Okay, we might have actually had another marten here because we lost our chunk of beaver. See that?
Yeah.
Just our deer hide there, so we might have had another marten here. So, get this all reset and move along the line. Okay, so we're at the same last box of the trap line again, and we got ourselves another weasel.
Got that one behind the ears.
Turned into a real not nice day today with this pouring rain. And we're going to turn to Blair ice. The thing with the weasel lots of times is they fit past the trigger and they get a hold of the bait, and when they're pulling the bait back is when they set off the trap. Happens lots with weasels.
Behind one ear and in front of the other.
Yeah, that's a lights out situation now, isn't it? Right in the ears.
Right on the brain bucket.
Like that partridge trap. That's the breastbone from partridge that they keep trying to take out of the box each time. Go. Try that again.